Hello, doing some things here with my 1960 Corvette, and I figured I would take you along for the ride, let you know what's going on. So here's the 1960 Corvette here in the garage. And so what's going on here today? So we're coming out of the winter here and it's early spring. And so this was a little while ago, or about a month ago. And took it out for a drive. Make sure everything was good for the spring and for summer driving here. And got it up to temperature in about 15 minutes and it was doing fine. And then about 25 minutes or 30 minutes in, it started running a little rough. And after a little bit longer than that, and it kind of started like it was feeling like it wanted to stall. And so had to keep my foot on the gas and keep the RPMs up and got it back here in the garage. Pulled things off and see if I could figure out what was going on. And so got it back in here and I took the temp gun out and I took some temperatures. And so the fuel bowl here, the filter, 170 degrees, 175 degrees. Line leading here, 180 degrees. Line down here near the heads, even more, 190 degrees. I said, whoa, that's way too hot. Shot the carb and we were at 145, 150 degrees. Too hot. The spacer, we got a spacer underneath here, so that helps, but still way too hot here. Shot the temp of the return to the radiator and 180 degrees, so fine there. Couldn't figure out what was going on. So then I went over here to the coil, 200 degrees, 205 degrees. Holy cow, that's too hot. And so I replaced that because you want to check your ignition stuff first. If you got a problem with idling or running, start with ignition stuff first. Make sure everything on the ignition things is working the way it should and eliminate those first. So I replaced that. Pretty easy and pretty cheap part. And took it out for a drive and same thing. Man, it was really too hot. And what was going on here? So it's still 175 degrees here. What was going on? And then it finally dawned on me. So coming out of the winter here, so I'll go down here, and let me get a flashlight here. So going down here is the heat riser. So that big metal thing right there is the arm to the heat riser. And so let me turn this off here. And so here's a little dowel, and I pushed on that, and it was stuck. It was up, like it is now, in the closed position, which means it closes off the exhaust. So what happens is the exhaust comes back up through the intake and the crossover of the intake and goes out, and so the exhaust goes out the other side of the intake. But as I was driving, that thing was closed, and so it heats everything up with there. Now, it's supposed to heat everything up if you're driving in cold weather and it heats up the carb and everything like that, so that's fine. But after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes, that is supposed to start opening. There's a coil on there that controls the arm, and it's supposed to open up to allow this heavy arm to drop down and open the valve so the exhaust goes out the passenger side here. Well, it wasn't working. So what it was doing, it was sending all the heat back up there even when the engine was at normal operating temperature, and it was just heating everything. And so took a long screwdriver out and took a hammer and kind of tapped it and broke it loose from the winter. So it was stuck during the winter for whatever reason. And as you can see, now it's working properly. Got to keep an eye on it, and I got to do some more things with it. But that was causing all of the heat issues. And so now that the heat riser is working properly, take the car out for a drive, and everything is back the way it should be. Carburetor is down to 120, 125 degrees. Fuel filter is, again, down to 120, 125 degrees. I'm not boiling anything away. Everything is fine now. So, wanted to give you that update. Thanks.